Okay, in this segment, I want to talk a little bit about staying up with your horse or not getting left behind in the turns. And some of the things I'm going to do, you're going to think that you can't do. But I've worked with a lot of people and they've really worked. And so we're going to go through it. But a lot of it comes from core strength in your stomach, just being strong and having the strength. But also it comes from great balance from a lot of years riding. Okay, so if you don't ride that much, your balance may not be as good and your timing may be as good. And then there's that factor in there of you maybe being a little fearful. And when you're a little fearful, you tend to tense up, kind of squeeze with your legs, your shoulders are tight, and that makes you not move quite as good with the horse, okay? So we want to find kind of a balance of you're ready to go, but you're not so stiff and tight and you're not completely just squeezing with your legs, okay? So you want to be able to move with that horse, all right? So one of the things that I'll challenge everybody to do to get better is to ride two-handed. And people find out that when they ride two-handed going around the barrels, that it forces them to sit down onto that horse and to move with them, okay? You don't want to be going into the barrels, and I'm just going to start off loping. Let's just say we drop our outside hand and hang on to the horn and be leaving the turns kind of back, pulling on that horn, pulling yourself up, okay? You want to go around that horse and you want to stay low. You want to have a little bit of arch in your back where you're down on them in the turns, okay? So there's a huge difference if I go around these barrels two-handed versus I go around it one and I'm pulling on my saddle horn and I'm actually getting a pull on that cinch. You don't want to be back like this. You want to kind of stay a hair forward, okay? So just riding two-handed kind of forces you to stay up with your horse and to be sitting down, leaving that barrel, okay? You're going to be having a little bit of weight in your stirrups, and it's a combination of your legs are kind of shock absorbers, okay? You don't want to go into those turns and just completely sit down, okay? And then just take all the weight out of your stirrups where you're sitting because you're going to flop a little too much, okay? Do you see how I bounced a lot more there when I took weight out of the stirrups? But if I now put a little bit of weight in them, I'm going to take out a little bit of that bounce, okay? So it's just really a fine balance of going around the barrels of keeping a little weight in your stirrups, a little bit on your seat. And I'll go up here and kind of go through two-handed a little bit faster. And you want to really just stay in the middle of your horse and not rely always on that saddle horn to keep you in or up. You want to rely on your core muscles to get up and get away from that turn. You're going to stand up in your stirrups when you leave a turn a little bit so you can go with them, all right? I want to get up. So I think that maybe I don't ride her necessarily a lot two-handed, but it really forces you to sit down and move with that horse, okay? Just think about how if you rely on that horse, pulling on that horn, how you're pulling on the cinch. And also, when you're coming into the turns or leaving the turns, you don't want to get too far in or too far out on those horses. You want to stay pretty much center with them. And the timing of staying with them in that stride. So you don't want to get too far up here with your hands. You don't want to get pulling and bracing the whole time. You're always moving with that horse. You're always moving them. And like I said, nothing can duplicate the hours of riding and going out and making runs on your horses and being in shape. Building, like I said, building those core muscles and alternating from your legs, keeping that pressure in your legs to sitting down and kind of being as a shock absorber. So good luck.